Is there audio now? Okay, it's working now. I'm sorry. What was that? Like 5 minutes of no audio? I hope it was only 5 minutes. No. All right, so apologies for the no audio. So that was a really quiet live stream for a little bit. So, I'll give a quick recap of what we're doing. We need to be able to edit business profiles. Right now, we just can create business profiles. We need to edit them. So at first, I just made the routes. I copied our create business profile to make our edit business profile component, and then I copied over the uh, GraphQL query to get our business profile data. Okay, so that's basically all I did. The very short version of what I did. So apologies. I had this weird thing with my PC that every once in a while, if I'm listening to music or something, I'll hear like a little stutter in the music, and then it disconnects my headphones and my microphone. So I reconnected my headphones earlier, but I wasn't using my mic, and I totally forgot to double check my mic. So when I'm on my PC, I'll have to remember to do that. I had that problem a couple months ago, and then it went away, and it just came back just a few days ago. I don't know what the issue is, but anyway, let me let me see what I missed in the chat. Oh no, so everybody's basically telling me no audio. Tried DMing him on Twitter. Oh, thanks for trying to get in touch with me. All right, cool. So, apologies again for that. Thanks so much to everybody for trying to get in touch with me. Okay, I see the message now on Twitter. Uh, um, yeah, I uh, I definitely won't forget that now. I won't forget to check my audio. I even checked my audio to make sure that my background noise wasn't coming up, and I looked and there was nothing registering on the audio, and I thought, oh, good, there's no background noise. But it never occurred to me that there's no noise at all. But anyway, that kind of thing happens. Even when you've been live streaming for years, like I have, it still happens. Uh, let's see. Now I got to figure out where I was at. Oh, errors. Another GraphQL error. I didn't import this get business profile query. So let's do that from our GraphQL. I don't think I'm currently importing anything like that. So this is just the types. So this .api file, this is the get business profile query type. So you can see here, it's just so that we know what to expect. So TypeScript knows what to expect here. And I suppose I need this get business profile as well. Maybe I don't. Actually, I don't because I'm using it here. So basically, if I were to import this query, get business profile, and just use it directly without any of this, I wouldn't be able to say exactly what I wanted. It would just give me all the data, which is way too much data. We don't need that. So that's why I'm spelling it out here. It's more code for now, but what happens is it'll save the user a lot of data, and the query will run a lot faster. So let's save that and see what happened. Oops, and there's something else. Data does not exist on type. All right, we got to do a little TS ignore here somewhere. Response data, get business profile. It's weird that it's not showing up. Image data. Oh, because I set it to a TypeScript file and I didn't have TypeScript before. I spell that image. IMAGE data. There it is, right in front of me. So TS ignore. So that should ignore that now. Yep. Now let's move on to the next error. What do we have? Classes.roots. Property root does not exist. You know what? I don't even need this form. Yeah, let's get rid of this form. I should be able to get rid of this and just have it work anyway. If there's some good reason to keep that in, let me know. But since I'm using controlled components, I don't think I need that. Let's see this. Label, the 4. So technically, you should not use 4. You need to use HTML4 in React. So if this was just straight HTML, this is the correct thing to use on a label. But it's not. This is React. So 4 is a reserved word. So we want to use HTML4. Let's see if we have this anywhere else. All right, that was the only spot. So if you're using JavaScript and you're switching to TypeScript, expect that to happen occasionally, that when you switch over to type a file from JS to TSX, you're going to have some errors. You can either try to fix them or just ignore them for now. Since the goal of this stream is to get this working and not necessarily, to teach TypeScript right now, I'm not going to worry about fixing them. If it was a simple fix, I would do a simple fix, but these aren't like I just did with the HTML4. Instead of ignoring it, I fixed it. But some of them are not simple fixes. So let's go back to where we were, view details, edit profile. And now what I was trying to do, oops, let's get rid of this. We'll go back here. What I was trying to do is show in our network, let me make this a lot bigger, that we should have our data. So the fact that we have something from GraphQL at all is good news. So we have this get business profile, and here's our data. Right? So we're going to now use this data to pre-fill our form so that the user can easily see what needs to be edited. Michael Creel in the chat says, one good thing is that we didn't hear the guys working on your roof. Yeah, so good news. The roof is completed. So in previous streams, you may have heard the pounding from people working on the roof. The roof is now finished. There's still a bunch of tools and things around my house that they need to clean up, but the roof is completed. So I'm really happy about that. All the pounding really got to be annoying. Like after all day, just hearing that over and over again. At first, I was like, I can deal with this, but then after a while, it just got on my nerves. It just made it hard to focus. All right, and Michael also says, I guess I should learn TypeScript, but it seems like such a hassle. It can be a hassle at times, but it really, I resisted TypeScript for a long time because I thought, I don't need this. It's just extra work. But once I started to learn it and started to use it, just gradually I started to use it. I started to see that in the long run, it does save a lot of time. And it really does help me when I'm working on a project with multiple people, and we're all using TypeScript. It's a lot easier for me to figure out what their components do. Like when they write components and I'm trying to use components someone else wrote, TypeScript really helps. So the next step is actually putting this data into these forms. So we have all the data saved in our local state under business profile. So now what we could do is say in here in our function where we have our try function, it says set business profile. We may not even need to use set business profile. I'm going to leave it in there just for now, just in case we find some reason to use it, which we may find a reason to use it later on. We'll see. But for now, I can just go to our local state. And where's our local state? It's down here. So in this local state, we've done it a little bit differently than in other components. So our form data is all in one object. I usually don't do it like this, but someone else made this component, and this is how they did it. So I left it like this because it works. I don't know if there's any advantage to putting everything in one object or putting it all in different use state hooks, but we're going to just use it like this. And we're going to say set form data. And we set form data. Let's bring all this up here. We're not actually going to use it all. So we're going to get rid of some of it, like all the error stuff. We're not going to set right now. All right. So but we can put in things like our business name, location, email, ID, and user number and email. And let's pull up our schema on this side. And that'll give us the names for our data. You can find it, business profile. So business name is going to be, let's do this and do const business. And we're going to set this equal to this. And we'll just pull everything from business. And then we may be able to get rid of this set business profile and just not even have that hook at all. So business dot name. That one's easy enough. Business dot location. Whoops, business location. Let's say email, business location. See, I like to use the same names in the schema as I do for my inputs so that it's easy to remember. That didn't happen on this one. So I'm going to have to just look business location, business email. So which one does the business email match up to? Name, oh, just email. I didn't even see that there. Business.email. Our user ID, which is really, I believe the user ID ends up being the user email instead. Most of the time, it can be an ID or email. Business dot user ID and business dot phone number. No. Yeah, I think we only have one thing for phone number in here, so. And then our user email is personal email. Business dot personal email. All right, let's save that and figure out why are we getting this? I guess I can't do it like that. How? Let's scroll down a little bit and see how we're doing it here. They also don't have we need to add in logo as well. On change, set values. No, that's not it. Business, see how we're doing location. Set values 1. Oh, it looks like, do we have a function? Looks like we have a function to handle this. It's going to be a little bit more tricky than normal. Hmm. Okay. All right. This is interesting. Like I said, I didn't do this component, so that's why I'm kind of figuring out how it works. Interesting. So it looks like each field has a different value, and we have to call this function to set the value. Okay. All right, that works. Or we could do, I wonder if we could just do it like this. So this is how we're setting form data here. And we're just saying dot 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 form data. So that should work. Let's see if we do that, if it works. Let's go back. Let me double check where that dot 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 was. Yeah. There we are. Okay, that should work. So we can set everything. Now, normally, I think we're doing it like this because we're doing some validation, right? So we have this value, these values here. We don't have to worry about it because this has already been validated, right? This data has already been entered in. It's gone through the validation process once. So that's why I'm not worried about validation again. Check the chat. All right, John says tried to switch a Gatsby project over to TypeScript, but it ended up all the packages and plugins ended up screaming for types. Yeah, it'll do that. Sometimes if you do switch to TypeScript, it'll want types for your packages. So that can be a hassle as well. You can do um, a lot of packages have types available, so you can import those, but it's just an extra step that you'll have to do. All right, so let's see. I don't have everything set up yet, but save this and then refresh the page and see if this is working. Not working. All right, where's our errors here? Found 6 elements of non-unique IDs. Okay. Here's some errors that are not related. I wonder why we're not getting. So we're setting form data. Maybe let's move this up. In fact, let's move this up above here because I'm just wondering if this is all getting reset. Let's move it all the way to the top. That's good. It's not working. It's interesting. So this should be the base state. Let's do some console logs. See what's happening here. So we should be setting state initially to everything being empty, basically empty strings. Then we call get business profile on mounts. So this use effect is when component did mount. We get business profiles. So we're getting the profiles. We already saw. Well, let's double check in our network that we are getting this. All right, so we are getting this. All right, so next step is let's do a console log to make sure that business actually has values. Let's get rid of this for now. And let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see this at the bottom here. So we do have business. We should be able to get this here. Okay. So maybe our set form data is doing something wrong. Let's try using the set values function. So what is this? This field cannot be business name. Let's just do business name, which would be set value 0, and then we'll do the value. So we'll do 0 and then business name. We'll see if that fills it in. It did not. It's not working. Interesting. I may need to switch this over. We may need to do a little refactor unless I can figure this out. All right. Let's see. We've got some comments here. Michael says, watching the video where you clean up this code is going to make me feel like how you feel when you peel the film off a new appliance. Yeah, it'll be nice to clean everything up. The reason I'm working so fast is today I'm supposed to deploy this. So at some point today, I'm going to deploy this. Would it not be returned form data from the server from the user's profile? This would be different than the forms data that could be edited. New form data. Should be different than the forms data that could be edited. New form data. Oh, just trying to say maybe new form data. Let's see. Let's look through this code and just make sure there's not another spot that is changing this data. We also need to set our image URL. Let's try this, because if we can set our image URL and that works, then we know at least if we refactor everything to use state like this and just skip the validation for now, which I'm not that worried about, then maybe that'll work. So what was that called again? It's just image URL and then set image URL. So let's do that. So let's say set image URL, and we'll say business.logo. What is this? Why is it giving me this? Is it, maybe it's mad because I didn't define it. We'll just put it up here. No, it's still argument type string is non-assignable parameter type. Previous state undefined. I'm getting weird errors today that I did not get before. All right. Let's use the old TS ignore Using this a lot today just to see if it works. Okay, now that works. So we know we're getting the data. If we update state, then that works. Maybe. I wonder if I can also, like, this is going to give me a bunch of red squigglies, right? But if I can TS ignore this, I think my TypeScript is a little bit behind. See if that works. Nah, that still doesn't work. Okay. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do. It's going to be a little bit of a refactor, but I think we could do it. Actually, we're not going to be able to finish the refactor in this stream because let me check my calendar real quick. I believe I have to interview somebody coming up soon. Let me double check. Yep, I'm interviewing an engineer in about 10 minutes. So I may have to stop this and do the interview. And I could probably come back and stream later because I would like to do at least some of this um, in the stream. If anybody has any ideas about why this is doing what it's doing, let me know. But otherwise, you know what we could do? We got a couple minutes left. We could just try to comment out some stuff. Or we could at least do a little test. Let's do a little test. So, business info, business ID. All right, business logos first. And then business name. Default value, form data, business name. Why don't we have a value here? Maybe that's our issue. Instead of default value, let's just say value. Value. There we are. That was our problem. That works. So if we just go through, we will be able to fix this. If we just go through and change default value everywhere to value, then this will work. Well, let's oh no, it worked in one spot. How did it work in one spot? But not in other spots. Oh, did we? Oh, because we're setting it here. So we do need to do a little bit more here. Set values 1, and then this would be business. I'm assuming these are all in order. Whoops, business location. Let's see if that works. Yep, that works. Well, kind of. Oh yeah, this must be the test data I put in. All right, so we need to do set values. This will be a lot easier than trying to refactor everything to not use set values. So let's do it like this. This should be business email. And then set values 3. It's going to be user, whoops. business dot user ID. Usually when I'm working on a component that somebody else made, I try to work within what they have done as much as I can and like not refactor it a lot. Usually because if you can write less code and get the same thing achieved, like that's better. Also, just in general to get along with your team, if every time you go in and refact and do somebody else's component, you refactor it and change it completely and it's not necessary, you might upset that person. And even though you're not saying it, you're sending a message like, hey, I don't like the way you code. So it's good to try to use what they've done so that they don't feel like what they've done is wasted. So that's generally how I do things. Sometimes you can't avoid it and you have to refactor. But if you can avoid refactoring everything that someone else has done, especially like doing it all the time, then it's good to do that. Business email. Did I mess that up? Yep. It's not business email, it's just email. All right, cool. So it looks like, let's do a refresh and see. These ones aren't. Hmm. I got an error. I got 5 minutes before I have to do this interview. See if we could fix this. Hmm. It looks like at least one of these components has some stuff going on with controlled and uncontrolled. All right, let me check the chat, and this will be the last thing that I do. And then I'm going to have to stop working on this for now, and I can start up and stream the rest of it later. John said comments are needed. Yeah, comments can be helpful. John said, could that have been a for in loop? It's possible we might have been able to do a loop, although the values for business is changing. Michael says, I didn't realize this was a group project, so the lack of comments is making my eye twitch. Says, how many people are working on this? Right now, this particular project, this admin panel, it's just two of us. The whole project in general, which is right now 3 different apps, it has been, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And if this interview goes well, maybe 6 people. But yeah, for now, I'm going to stop the stream and I'm going to pick the stream up later on and make sure my mic's working first. But anyway, thanks y'all for joining me. We're going to figure this out a little bit later on today. So if you're around later on today, join me. If you set like the little alarm for this channel, you should get a notification when I go live. Otherwise, I usually post on Twitter that I'm going to stream. So maybe I'll put a message on Twitter as well. And then if you want, you can get a notification on this YouTube channel. But I got to go interview somebody. I'll be back in about an hour. See you then.